Pack 4 is the only one I'm not thrilled about.
This summer, the greatest spectacle in sports returns to NBC. The 2016 Olympic Games from Rio de Janeiro. And with an unprecedented coverage plan of more than 5,000 hours of programming, the Rio Games are sure to be the biggest party of the summer. But months before the torch is lit, NBC's production effort kicks off with an event unlike any other in television.
Smile and go!
In November, the USOC and NBC welcomed more than 100 Olympic and Paralympic hopefuls to West Hollywood, California for the Rio Olympic Summit. And over the course of 5 days, captured content that will be used to create Games Time features,
Allison Felix,
as well as the Olympic social and promotional campaigns. There were adorable puppies, baby Bjorns,
That's not how I hold it. I know that.
and even Brazilian supermodels.
I brought something from my bikini line, and if you would want to try to see if that would...
In West Hollywood, athletes experienced it all.
You are faster than me, yes?
I would say so.
No! Fly away, peacocks!
Capturing this material required athletes to adhere to a tightly choreographed schedule that shuttled them through 18 different stages for interviews, photo shoots, and performances of all kinds.
Hello, Rusty.
The stages were designed to mirror Brazil's scenic beauty and vibrant culture. And nowhere was that more apparent than on the main promotional stage, where Rio's Ipanema Beach was reimagined. A 120 by 16 foot photorealistic canvas brought to life the city's shoreline and the iconic peaks known as the Two Brothers. And more than 40,000 pounds of sand were used to bring the beach indoors, where 3D printing technology helped replicate the intricate detail of Ipanema's famous sidewalk. With so many stars already in the movie capital of the world, athletes also participated in Hollywood-style film shoots that employed the latest filmmaking tools available. Techno cranes, high-speed mobile units, and super slow-motion underwater cameras helped capture athletic movement in spectacular fashion. The Rio Olympic Summit produced more than 500 hours of material that will appear across every platform throughout NBC Universal. In the months ahead, NBC's production team will generate lifestyle featurettes,
Life is bigger than what I do on the wrestling mat.
composite a brand new graphics package, and create a far-reaching promotional campaign.
We are
We are Team USA.
Let the games begin.
This summer, Rio will host the biggest celebration in all of sports. And thanks to the Olympic Summit, NBC will bring viewers the party and pageantry that is sure to define the Rio Games.
Good morning. Glad everybody got a chance to see what we were doing here in November. We're back here for the Olympic Paralympic Media Summit. I'm Patrick Sandusky from the U.S. Olympic Committee, if we haven't met. We're really excited to be here in Los Angeles. We've been doing the Media Summit every 2 years, we said last night, since 1988. This is the largest one to date. I'm told we're getting close to 700 in terms of the number of credentialed media, and we have more than 100 Olympic and Paralympic hopefuls, and to be here to talk to you. So the people who are just up there on that screen, you'll get a chance to talk to them in person. Today, the first press conference we're going to start with after I get off stage is going to be with members of our swim team. Then after that, I'll come back up once you've had a chance to talk to them, and we have our leadership press conference with Larry Probst, Scott Blackman, Lisa Baird, and Ellen Ashley, and that starts at 10:15. So I hope everybody here has an opportunity to talk to everybody you want to. Please let me and our team know if there's any needs of yours that aren't being met. We're going with the hashtag Road to Rio. If you went to the party last night and saw in the pool the big hashtag, it was kind of obvious, but thought I'd mention it anyway. So we're really happy to be in Los Angeles. We're looking for a great 3 days of activity, and hopefully you'll get a lot of great content in the lead up to the games, and see you all this week, and then hopefully in Rio. So with that, I'm going to turn it over. We're going to go to a video, and then the swimmers are going to come out. Thanks, everyone.
is the Americans and Coughlin who have the lead right now. So Schmidt finishes it off for the U.S. 2 lengths to the pull. Missy Franklin going for her first individual Olympic medal. Strong, but Missy Franklin breaking to the wall in lane 5. Is her first individual medal going to be gold? Yes! Lochte, can he get the world record and his second Olympic individual gold? It is clear that all that training and the statement that it's my time has all paid off for Lochte, who's going to win Olympic gold in the 400 IM. Adrian in lane 5 trying to beat Magnuson and the field. Here they come home. James Magnuson in lane 4. Below him is Adrian trying to get to the wall first. Down in lane 7 is Brett Hayden. Too close to Paul right now at the top of the wall. Adrian with the gold for the U.S.
It's a beautiful day. The sky falls, you feel like it's a beautiful day. So let it get away on the road. But you've got no destination in the mud. In the maze of her imagination, your love is down. Even if that doesn't ring true.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Scott Lightman. I'm the Director of Communications for USA Swimming. We're excited to be here today, and as we gear up for Rio and for us, Omaha. The Olympic trials for swimming will be in Omaha from June 26th to July 3rd. We hope to see all of you guys out there. If you haven't gotten your credentials yet, please apply at usaswimming.org/media. Up here, we have a nice collection of athletes who are ready to go. The first seat right here is Matt Grievers, originally from Chicago, Illinois, and now trains in Tucson, Arizona. Natalie Coughlin from the Bay Area, has never left. Ryan Lochte from Daytona Beach, Florida, now trains in Charlotte, North Carolina. Missy Franklin from Denver, a proud Broncos fan. It's a little bittersweet day for Missy with Peyton. Nathan Adrian, originally from Seattle and now trains in the Berkeley area. Simone Manuel from Houston, Texas, and trains at Stanford. And Connor Dwyer, also from Chicago, and trains here in Los Angeles. So we'll just ask an opening question for everybody, and then we have some mics. We'll call on you. If you could please give your name and affiliation so they know who is asking them the question, that'd be great. And then afterwards, we'll have Ryan and Simone stay up here on stage for some breakdowns, and the other 5 athletes will be in that room right over there, and you'll have some time to interview them at that point. So Matt, we'll start with Matt. He is the 2012 Olympic champion in the 100 backstroke. And Matt, the United States has quite a legacy in the backstroke. How does it feel to be the latest in that, and as you continue towards Rio?
Feels like a lot of pressure. No, it's really been a great legacy, something I grew up watching, just great backstroke in the U.S. And I'm not sure why we're so good at backstroke, but I got to kind of be a part of it in 2008 when I touched out Ryan Lochte. Sorry, Ryan. He blames it on my long arms. I think his head actually might have been ahead of mine, but my arms got him. And Aaron and I were able to go 1-2 then, and I never thought I'd be able, sorry, again, Ryan. I never really imagined, at that point, my goal was just making an Olympic team. I wasn't thinking about Olympic medals. And during the training camp, Aaron Pearsall was like, no, you're a U.S. backstroker. We're getting medals. I was like, wow, I think you're right. So he changed my mindset there, and I think that is the mindset of U.S. backstroke. If you make the team, you're kind of obligated to get some hardware. And it's, I guess, a little bit of pressure, but it's really cool that we kind of do have that legacy.
Natalie, how is your training different this time around compared to maybe your previous Olympics?
Yeah, so right after the London Games, I needed to evaluate what I was doing, and I changed coaches. I'm still at Cal Berkeley, but I'm training with Coach Dave Durden and the men's team. So I train with Nathan every day and a lot of other amazing sprinters and get my butt kicked. And it's really challenging and really fun because I am trained with the best sprinters in the world on the men's side. And so it's a huge challenge, but it really forces me to evaluate what is working for me and what I could do better. And there's not a better place for me to be doing that right now.
Great. Thank you. Ryan, you've changed location since we saw you leading into London. So talk about being in Charlotte with the head women's Olympic coach, David Marsh, and what training in Charlotte's like.
It's a lot different. You know, growing up in Gainesville, coaching, getting coached under Greg Troy, it was more quantity instead of quality. I mean, we still did quality, but I mean, it was all about yardage. And after 2012, I mean, it was time for me to change something in my swimming. I wanted to try different events, and I was getting older, so I couldn't really handle all that yardage. So one of the things I wanted to do was move to Charlotte and train under David Marsh. And going against him in college, I knew what he was capable of doing when he was at the University of Auburn. So, I mean, it was pretty much a no-brainer to move there and just get a different kind of training.
Missy, we're going to talk a lot about moving forward to Omaha and Rio, but take us back a little bit. Is there a favorite memory kind of about how you got into the sport to where you are today?
There's so many. I just remember always loving the water. Like, that was just such a big thing for me. And I initially got involved, these guys have heard this a million times, so I'm sorry, because my mom was terrified of the water. She grew up in Nova Scotia, and no one's about to go hop in the water in Nova Scotia. It's frigid. And so she really never got comfortable with it, and she's still not really comfortable with it, and she didn't want me to feel like that. So she signed me up for a Mommy and Me class when I was 6 months old, and after that, they just couldn't get me out of the water. And I just loved the feeling you get when your hands would be all pruny after spending like hours in the water, and just the little things. Like, that's really what I've learned is, you know, getting a candy bar after a swim meet. Like, there's just so many little things, you know, throughout this journey and throughout the process of this sport that makes such a big difference that I'm really grateful for.
Nathan, Orlando, you had a pretty good meet over the weekend, turning in some fast times that were number 2 in the world in the 50 free and the 100 free. So talk about kind of where you are right now as we look forward.
You know, you can't take too much weight off of any in-season performance, whether it be great or bad, but it's just a good snapshot. So we're comfortable with where we're at. We're comfortable knowing that our training is working, and you know, we're moving in the right direction right now.
Cool. Simone, you're a student at Stanford, taking this year off to redshirt and prepare for the Olympics. So talk about kind of the collegiate atmosphere of being at Stanford.
Oh, I love the atmosphere of being at Stanford. I decided to redshirt this year just so I could focus on Olympic trials and hopefully making the Olympic team. And I got a great amount of support from my coaches and my parents and my teammates. And I'm still heavily involved with the collegiate team. Standing on deck and watching them race and being a part of that is very exciting because I want their support as much as I give them their support.
So I asked you about Stanford with 3 Cal Bears on the stage. So,
and 2 Gators.
2 Gators. And lastly, for Connor, like Missy, going back in time, you're one of 5, and you grew up in a family of swimmers as well. So just talk about growing up in a swimming family.
Yeah, I mean, my mom swam at Florida State, so she got me and my brothers and sister pretty comfortable with the water. We could all swim at age 2 on our own, and like Missy, just fell in love with the water as a young kid, just goofing around with my brothers and sister in my grandparents' backyard pool.
All right. We'll open up for questions now. There is a mic out in the field over here. Brianna has a microphone, so if you'd like to ask a question, please raise your hand and wait for the microphone. We have one up here. And again, if you could please identify yourself with your name and your affiliation, that would be great.
Hi, Steve Futterman with CBS News. I want to ask you, we have heard lots of people talk about the virus, the Zika virus, whatever, and I'm sure you're aware of it. Maybe it's an uncomfortable thing, but what have you been told about it? Are you concerned about it? Have you talked to doctors about it or family about it?
Who wants it?
Yeah, so It's one of the issues that's surrounding the upcoming Olympic Games. But I think all of us are deferring to the CDC, the WHO, and the USOC's guidelines. And so, they're giving us all the information so that we can make a fully educated decision. But it's all about prevention and learning about the disease. I've been to parts of Africa where there's malaria rampant, and you treat your clothes, you wear bug spray, and you do it. There's always things that are beyond our control at the Olympic Games, and this is just one of them.
Hi, Rachel McNeil with KPRC in Houston, Texas. So my question is, Simone, hello. We'd love to know, from your roots in Sugar Land to representing your city and your state and your country for the Olympics, what's it been like for you, and how proud are you to be headed on this Olympic journey to Rio?
I'm very excited to be heading on this journey. Just coming from and being from Sugar Land, Texas, I definitely have a lot of support since it's kind of a small town. A lot of people know me, I think, but it's really exciting to to represent my state. Just really excited about where my swimming can take me.
Pat?
Yeah. Pat Forty from Yahoo Sports. I think most of y'all up there have had a coaching change since the last Olympics, and I'm just wondering, despite the level of success you had, if there's kind of a leap of faith to go try something new, and maybe what spurred you to do it?
Ryan?
I didn't have one.
I'm kind of a different-ish coaching change. So I was with Todd Schmitz for London, and then I went and did 2 years at Berkeley under Terry McKeever, which was just the most incredible experience. I'm so grateful I got to swim in college, especially at Cal. That whole atmosphere, everything about it, it really developed me as a swimmer, as a person, and I just learned so much about myself. And then going into this year, after a lot of talking with my parents, coaches, just with everything that was going to be new with being a professional, I found that the best decision was going to be for me to go back to Todd for the year in training for 2016. And while it's been so hard being away from school and being away from my girls, I've really been able to have that support of my family throughout this whole process, which has been great. And being back with Todd, it's very different being back with him as a 20, almost 21-year-old as opposed to a 17-year-old. And it's much more of a collaboration and a partnership now, which has been really fun, I think, for both of us.
Hi, Jason Goertz from Sports Travel Magazine. Scott mentioned that the trials will be in Omaha, which obviously they've been the last couple times. But can a few of you talk about what the atmosphere is like there? That's obviously a non-traditional swimming venue. So just curious to get your thoughts on what that atmosphere is like.
Yeah, so I've been to the Olympic trials in 2000 at Indianapolis, 2004 in Long Beach, and then the Omaha trials. Omaha does a really, really nice job of putting on an amazing, amazing competition. I believe it's about 15,000 people. Is that about correct?
It seats just shy of 15,000, and
Yeah.
right now the lower bowl is already sold out for all 8 days.
Yeah, it's a really, really big venue, and it's a great show. There's the massive scoreboard that floats over the pool, and as you know, a backstroker, I like to be able to check my split on the 50. So the entire stadium gets really dark other than the pool, and the entire town gets really behind the trials, unlike any other city that I've seen. And so it's not the easiest place to get to for someone from the West Coast, but I'm so happy we're going back to Omaha.
Yeah, it's a really great setup. I think most of us stay at the hotel that you just walk right across, so you get to plan very particularly and carefully and know exactly when you want to get in for warm-up. And like Natalie said, the community is amazing. They're very big sports fans, and so though they might not know that much about swimming, they do their research right then. We get recognized all over the place, and they're great about it. They don't take up too much of your time, but they just want to say, we appreciate what you're doing here, and good luck. And that means so much as swimmers, just to have the support of the community. So yeah, it's just a great town, and they have good food there too. And like Natalie said, the environment in the pool is incredible. I think they serve beer, which is pretty unique in swimming. You get some extra rowdy fans going. That's fun for us on deck.
Pisani, Gazzetta dello Sport Italy, for Lochte and Franklin. Who do you consider your biggest rival in the Olympics?
Biggest rival.
Biggest rival.
Biggest rival. Sorry for the accent, but I'm Italian, you know. We have this terrible accent.
I mean, I guess with me and Missy, we swim so many different events, and so many, we swim pretty much all the strokes. So you can't really say that there's one particular rivalry that we have. I think there's so many up-and-coming swimmers from all over the world, not in just one particular country. So it's kind of, we just gotta keep doing what we've been doing, focus on ourselves, and when the time comes, hope that we get put our hand on the wall first.
Very similar to that. Every race is different. You have different competitors for each race, but being from Italy, Federica Pellegrini for me her 200 freestyle is absolutely incredible, and she's been such a great competitor for me the past several years, and I know she's going to be a huge contender this year, so I'm really looking forward to being able to race her again.
A question over here on the right-hand side.
Marisa Gaona, American Forces Network, broadcasting to the troops and families overseas. How does it make you feel, not just to represent your country, but knowing it could be 1 or 2 in the morning and there could be troops deployed who are watching you and cheering you on?
Nathan, you want to
go? That's an honor. I mean, any time you get I think probably each of us could go down the line here and describe pretty, in detail the first time we ever put on a Team USA cap. The first time we ever represented our country, and how much it meant to us at the time. And I know for me personally, it's grown each and every time you do it, and it just means that much more. So to the troops overseas that are staying up in the morning, that's a huge honor to hear that.
With Matt.
Matt Futterman from the Wall Street Journal. Some of you guys had some tough competition last summer at the World Championships. Was that sort of a gut check is the wrong word, but or wake-up call, or a way, something that refocused you in terms of what the competition was going to be like over the next year? I guess Nathan and Ryan and Missy in particular.
For me, it really wasn't. I was very focused going into that meet. I worked my butt off going into that meet, and it was just not where I wanted to be. So, you take that in stride. There were some good things that came out of Worlds last summer, and there was definitely some disappointments, but I was still incredibly focused going in, incredibly driven. And now after that, even more so, and you really take those things and you learn from it, and you can't focus too much on the past. You need to learn from it, but then you need to move on and focus on how to make yourself better for the future.
I think, if you look at it on paper, the results are just a little bit different than what I feel like the strength of Team USA as a whole is. We had a lot of guys that were at home, just because the way the qualifying process worked and the way the years lined up, that are extraordinary swimmers that didn't actually get to, put on the American flag cap. And I think that this summer, because of the trials process, we're going to get the best athletes that Team USA has available, and certainly be ready to compete against the world.
Hi, Ed Hula from Around the Rings. The Swimming Federation has made some complaints about the facilities in Rio, the lack of covering for the pool, other points. Have you been advised of any of this? And does it give you any apprehensions or qualms about what it's going to be like in Rio in August?
The pool is the covering is not for pool swimming. That's for some of the other aquatic sports.
Oh, you.
You know, I personally, it's just, for us and the way I feel about it is that's really out of our control right now. We need to focus on what we can be doing as athletes so that when we get there, we're at our best to represent our country, to represent our team. And it's only going to take away energy if we're kind of worried about the things that we can't control. And so I don't know if my teammates feel similarly, but I trust that everything will be ready and we know how to make the best of any situation no matter what it's going to be. And I know Rio is going to do everything they can to put together the best Olympics they can.
Charles Bell with the National Newspaper Publishers Association. Natalie, you changed coaches. What was the reason for changing the coaches? I'm over here. What was your reason for changing coaches? It's been very successful. Congratulations, but you changed coaches. Could you go in detail? Thank you.
Yeah, so I was with Coach Terry McKeever for 12 years, and we had and still have a great relationship. But after 12 years, I needed a change. The way that the girls on the Cal women's team were training is perfect for an 18 to 20-year-old, but I needed something a little different. And the way that we trained was all together. We didn't have separate groups, and I didn't want to be selfish and demand my own group. But at the time I was 30, and I needed something a little different. And fortunately, I was able just to go to the other side of the pool with Coach Dave Durden and get that more specific sprint training that is so perfect for me at age 33. And it was such a wonderful coaching change to stay within the Cal family and also not uproot my family. I'm married, I have a house that I love, and my entire family is in the Bay Area, and so I wasn't going to move to Charlotte. I wasn't going to move to LA or anything like that. It's just not the stage of life that I'm in now. And I'm very, very grateful that Terry has supported me for so long and continues to support me, and that Dave is helping me along my journey now.
Ben. Ben Fisher, Sports Business Journal. I suppose this is for Natalie and Ryan, but I guess if anyone's got an opinion on the subject, I'd like to hear it. I focus on you two because you've been around a few cycles. As you know, the USOC and the IOC have relaxed some of the rules about athletes appearing in advertisements with non-official sponsors this year in hopes of making it easier to generate an income for you all. And I guess I'm curious to know, from an athlete's perspective, I talk about this with agents almost every day, but from where you stand, have you noticed any difference in the sponsorship environment? More deals, different kinds of companies reaching out to you? Just curious to know your opinion or your experience.
I think it's great that they're easing up on those rules, and I think it's they're just evolving with how social media has evolved and just kind of the entire sporting media world. I think it's really exciting. I know I have some great sponsors, as do all the professional athletes on this stage. Simone's still in college, so she has that to look forward to. But we all have some great relationships and people who support us along the way. And there are different companies that aren't the traditional Olympic sponsors now who are reaching out to us. And so it just kind of widens it widens our reach and allows us to have deals that aren't traditional deals. Like I know I have several that aren't the typical sponsor, and I'm very, very grateful for them.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's definitely good them being more relaxed on letting more sponsors in during the Olympic Games. I mean, for me, it just puts swimming out there more. It's definitely making the sport bigger, and that's pretty much our main goal, is to make swimming bigger than what it was in 2012. And by them doing that, it's definitely showing, and it's definitely going to get bigger.
Yeah, I have a question for Ryan, all the way in the back here. My name is Martin from Dutch Television. You had a question about your opponents, some questions before, but you didn't mention Michael Phelps. Was that on purpose?
No. I mean, yeah. I mean, Michael Phelps, we had like one of the biggest rivalries in 2012, and now that he's back, it's amazing. It's good for the sport, and like I just said, it's making the sport bigger. And him coming back, and him helping Team USA, is definitely good, and it helps me out because I know he's out there in Arizona working hard, and it's pushing me. So we bring out the best in each other, and you know, it's definitely going to be fun to race him again in Rio.
Hi, Tom Burke, Examiner.com. I'll throw a question over to Connor's direction. Connor, in recent months, USA Swimming has prodded FINA along the path of anti-doping, tightening and enforcing anti-doping measures, maybe instilling better standards. How supportive you are of USA Swimming in its, as I said, approach to prod FINA along these lines?
Could you repeat the end of the question? What was it?
Yeah, sure. Basically, what I'm asking is, to what extent are you supportive of USA Swimming's prodding FINA along towards tightening anti-doping standards, enforcing the rules?
Yeah, we think it's a very good movement that's coming along for the sport. Seeing as how a lot of other countries, their athletes are getting caught with doping and they aren't handling it sometimes in the best way. Whereas if one of the U.S. Olympic athletes tests positive, then we're going to be banned for a few years, and that hasn't been the case with athletes that have failed tests in different countries. And I know we've all been getting tested a lot more this year with that movement of trying to enforce testing around the world, and we hope that the same is being done elsewhere around the world, and those athletes that are have failed tests before hopefully are getting tested as often as the U.S. athletes are.
We'll take one or two more, and then we'll get into our breakdowns.
Hi, Rachel McNeil with KPRC again. For some of the Olympic veterans, what kind of advice do you give to the Olympic athletes who are coming in and this is their first games?
Simone, I think you're going to do great. No, I mean, it's everybody, you know, at this point, if they've established themselves as a legitimate threat to make the Olympic team, they know how to be successful in the pool. And the only advice is that the Olympics is, you know, there's going to be probably a lot of stuff going on that you're not used to, but ultimately you can treat it the same way that you've treated every other swim meet. And, you know, if you just kind of keep that tunnel vision, you're going to be fine.
I think it's really important as one of the veterans to be available as a resource to the rookies, but never give unsolicited advice. Because just like Nathan said, everyone that is in this position knows what to do. It's a 50-meter pool. It's here and back, or maybe a few more times for some other people, but essentially it's the same thing that you've been doing your entire life and you know what to do. But having been through the process of Olympic trials and the Olympic Games, I will be available, as will the other veterans, but I think it's something that we have to be careful of, not to just give out advice when it's not asked for.
Great. Well, last question over here, and then we'll get into our breakdowns.
I'm Alyssa with Us Weekly. This is for everyone. What goes through your mind in the middle of a race?
In the middle of a race?
In the middle.
Ow.
Pain. Help.
Help. Lifeguard.
To avoid the ow, which is probably most of us, I think of technique. It distracts me from the pain. Just try to think about doing everything perfectly so you're not thinking about my legs are on fire, my vision's dimming. It's just trying to finish the stroke you want for me.
Mm-hmm. I know I choose like 1, 2, maybe 3 at most things to think about during my race. And beyond that, you just kind of go on autopilot and rely on the thousands and thousands of hours of training and muscle memory.
I definitely agree with her. I mean, we train every day for the events that we want to swim at the end of the season, so you really don't have to really think when you're swimming because it should be automatic. It should be on autopilot, like she said. And so then all we have to do is just focus on just racing.
I think for me, the middle of a race is where I struggle most with comparing myself to where everyone else is in the pool. You know, the first part of my race I can just go, and the last part I can just go, but the middle is where I really have to check in with, I want to kind of look around and see where everyone's at and what everyone's doing, and that's really my time to hone in on just my lane, what I'm doing, and making sure I'm doing the things that I need to think about, and my stroke is where it needs to be to get me to that point where I don't have to think anymore.
I'm a pretty rhythmic swimmer. And although I can't dance very well, you know, I can make a pretty small adjustment in my stroke and know per cycle, you know, what 5/100ths of a second feels like. So that's kind of what I focus on.
I don't think too much in my races. They're pretty short. But when I start to feel the pain, something that helps is I just count the rest of my strokes till I get to the wall. I don't know, it just helps me not think about things too much, similar to what many of them are saying, technique and, you know, just relying on your training. But yeah, not much goes through my head while I'm racing.
Yeah, in the middle of a race, just focusing on the game plan that I went over with my coach before the race, and just keeping positive thoughts in my head throughout the whole race.
Great. Well, thank you to the athletes, and thank you for your questions as well. Like I said, Simone and Ryan will stay up here on stage. The other 5 athletes are going to go through the room here, take off their microphones, and we'll meet you back in that room over there. Thank you.
So